Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Joyce Anyanwu. So in today's episode, I want us to watch together the conversation between Segun of Channels TV and Mike Ozekhome concerning Nigerian constitution. It has been for a while now. Nigeria has been crying. A lot of Nigerians has been crying that the Nigerian constitution, they have to rewrite it, remove some things and add some things. But the government, they are not listening to us because the constitution favors them. Like this constitution of paying governors after their retirement, paying them like they are still in the office, buying new cars for them. This constitution of paying all the Senate, buying new cars for the Senate, building houses for vice president and so on. Why the poor masses, they don't have, the constitution doesn't favor them. So that is why they are still agitating on this constitution. So my people, before I talk too much, let's just listen and see what Segun is talking about and what the question, the interview, the conversation. Let's just listen together. Then we will come back and wrap it up.
Decide for so many issues that is a product of the military era and with several inputs that are not gotten from the Nigerian people. But the big question will be, there are also attempts by the Obasanjo regime to fix it. So there was a 2005 National Political Reform Conference initiated by President Olusegun Obasanjo. The objective of that conference was to address various national issues, including federalism, electoral reforms, resource control, and the devolution of powers. The outcome was that the conference produced a report with several recommendations, including the adoption of a 6-year single-term presidency and the creation of more states. However, the conference work was largely overshadowed by the controversial attempt to amend the constitution to allow President Obasanjo a third term in office. Fast forward to 2014. So the Yar'Adua government went, here we come, we had the Jonathan government. In 2014, President Goodluck Jonathan convoked the 2014 confab. The objective was very similar to what we had earlier, and it was to address issues of national unity, which was one of our major issues at that time, governance and the structure of the federation. The conference focused on areas such as resource control, state creation, and the devolution of powers. But the outcome was that the conference produced a comprehensive report with about 600 recommendations, including the creation of additional states, the adoption of a new revenue sharing formula, and the establishment of state police. However, the recommendations were not implemented before the Jonathan government left office, defeated in 2015 by the Muhammadu Buhari government, which spent 8 years and shown little interest, him and his party, at implementing or adopting that conference resolution. 2021, we saw an alteration, an amendment to the Nigerian constitution, which is perhaps about the 5th alteration to the constitution. It was under the Buhari government. The objective also similar, issues around resource control, electoral reforms, and judicial independence. But the outcome, of course, gave rise to the amendment of the constitution. Now, if you look at all of these conferences and all of these efforts, one thing is very common. And the common themes across all these conferences are that issues of federalism and devolution of powers, issues of resource control, state creation, and electoral reforms. These are some of the predominant issues that resonated across the last 25 years. So on Friday, President Bola Tinubu welcomed to the presidential villa a group of eminent Nigerians led by a former Secretary General to the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyaoku. And they made a presentation to the president. Chief Emeka Anyaoku did the presentation. He led the group. And let me allow you to I'll remind you of what Chief Eyaku told President Tinubu.
The convening of a National Constituent Assembly with the mandate to produce a draft People's Democratic Constitution. The Constituent Assembly should be of directly elected individuals, elected on non-political party basis, possibly 3 individuals per state and 1 from the Federal Capital Territory. The draft constitution produced by the Constituent Assembly, as I said, should be put to a national referendum. And if approved, should then be signed by the President as the genuine, legitimate Nigerian people's constitution.
That was a presentation at Constituent Assembly, and there seems to be a structure that has been presented to the President, but the President responded with some positive body language to their request. Take a listen to the President.
I definitely want to assure you that whatever is necessary, I'll put happiness and good governance in the heart of all Nigerians. This is what I will do. I'm still preoccupied with thinking and tinkering with the economic reform. That's my first priority. Once I get that reform in place as soon as possible, then I look at other options.
It does look like there's an assurance from the President in his response. The body language also looked to me like he welcomed the group with good spirit and, of course, and in good intention. But then, a lot of what were discussed, we do not know. Let's now speak with a member of that group, the Patriots, and let's get the conversation forward. I'm being joined tonight by a professor of law, a senior advocate of Nigeria and rights activist, Chief Mike Ozekhome. He's live with us here in Abuja studio. It's a pleasure having you. A member of the Patriots also. I forgot to add that. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Shu.
I appreciate it.
I'm a patriot.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I've been a pan-Nigerian all my life, 66 years on it now. And I'm happy that all the conferences you mentioned, I've been part of them. 2005, Obasanjo's political reform conference, I was there. In fact, I headed the splinter group of the civil society group that did a lot of job in this area. Senator Adams Oshomole, Senator Shehu Sani, Smart Adeyemi, they were some members of that my own group. In 2009, I was also at the Vision 2009 as to how to make Nigeria a great country. And in 2014, at the President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan confab, I was there fully. Incidentally, with all humility, the conference leadership named me the C0 of the conference. It's there on record. And I've been a member of the Patriots Group, which is concerned with nation building. I want to have a great country, resourceful country, prosperous country, under a constitutional democracy, a people-driven constitution, a country where mutual respect, where genuine peace, social justice, not peace of the graveyard or cemetery, like late Chief M.K. Abiola we call it, will prevail. It was this Patriot group that was founded by legendary Chief F.R.A. Williams, who died some years ago at 84. He passed the baton of office to the greatest constitutional lawyer that has emerged from the face of Africa, Professor Ben Nwabueze, senior advocate of Nigeria, who transited last year at the age of 91 years. Then the baton passed on to our present eminent international icon, personality of no mean feat, Chief Emeka Anyauku, a nonagenarian, 91 years old, who is still bellyaching over the problems of Nigeria. A man who was Secretary General of the 56th Nation Commonwealth of Nations, including Britain, including places like India, controlling Canada. All those countries making about 2.4 billion people in the world. Now, he led us to the president over worries about how the nation is going by making certain demands of the president. And I've had people talk again and again, saying, why are we talking about a new constitution? Is that our problem? I said, hello. That is the beginning and the end of our problem. Because a nation without an acceptable and legitimate constitution, which is autochthonous, indigenous, people-driven, can never get nationhood. As the program goes on, I'm going to give you some examples. But first, because the constitution is the birth certificate of a country.
Yes.
It's what tells us what system of government that country practices. Is it federalism? Is it unitarism? Is it monarchy? Is it what type of government? Is the constitution that tells us about rules of engagement. For example, Sheon, you are going from here to Plateau State, Jos. You have to pass through this place here, Lafia. Is that not so? You will be going because you are facing Jos. You will pass through Akwanga. You get to Do. Then you get to Jos. That is the only way you can get it because you are going to Jos. Compare with someone who is going to Jos. And then he decides to face Lokoja. He gets to Okene. He gets to Auchi. He gets to Benin. He takes there to Saple. He starts going to Bayelsa. He is not going to get to Kaduna. What will he do? He must reset by refocusing and coming back.
From your explanation, it does look like Nigeria has been heading for the last almost 20 years to a journey of nowhere.
Oh, it's a journey to no destination.
Let me give you
Prof,
another. Just a moment.
Let me give you another example.
Just a moment, Prof. I want us to be empirical and very analytical in our conversation tonight. And in your explanation and in the wisdom of the patriot, and I see the group there, led by Chief Emeka Anyauku. I see the likes of Ben Obi, the likes of Senator Shehu Sani. These cut across political bias.
No, it's even non-political.
It's a political
group. Partisan. For example, I am not a politician.
Yeah, but you see the personalities there. They are Nigerians, eminent all. Nigerians. So for them to say, and in their major submission to the president, to say that we need Nigerians represented by every ethnic group in a room fixing Nigeria's problems. What are Nigeria's problems? And I, for example, I like to poke your mind. Your intellectual mind, of course, this time around. Maybe not the legal part of your mind. Can you identify 3 of the most pressing problem of Nigeria that we can contextualize into our conversation? What would you say, Prof, if you have the solution on your left arm to fix the problem? What would you identify as 3 major Nigerian problems?
The first one I will identify is lack of nationhood. Nigeria is a country still yearning for nationhood.
What does that mean?
What it means is that we are not united. We are still what Chief Obafemi Awolowo once called a piece of geographical expression. Ahmadu Bello once said it was a piece of historical mistake because we were cobbled together on 1st January 2014 by Lord Lugard. the Southern and Northern Confederates and the Lagos colony. After Nigeria had been given her name by a young British author who wrote in the London Financial Times of 8th January 1897, calling it Nigeria, that Niger area. Mm-hmm. That is first major problem. In other words, we were cobbled together through the direct and indirect rule system that we were operating, with all of us already enjoying our independence. The Benin Empire, the Oyo Empire, the Kanem Bonu Empire, the ancient Ife. We were already independent, having our own systems of government, and we were happy. Jaja for Pobo, Nana of Ichekiri, Oba of Veramino Baise of Benin, who beat the British back with bare knuckles, for which he was deported to Calabar, where he lived and died 27 years later. So such people that were already used to their independence and ways of life, to put them together and say they cannot now discuss their future.
Is it the reason for the agitation we see in Nigeria? This idea of lack of nationhood.
In fact, it is the beginning and the end of it. I can assure you that you were talking about 3 problems. I identified that one major problem. If you don't have nationhood and nobody believes in Nigeria as a country, if I ask you, Shehu, where are you from? You won't say I'm in Nigeria. You first quickly mention your village and then your state. Then you are filling a form. After asking you for your name, the next question is place of origin. You put it town, they say local government. You put it, they say state. You put it, then they say religion. You are already being typified. You are already being profiled to know whether what we want here can come to you or not come to you.
But how do we resolve this? Because either we like it, you are an Ozekhome.
Yeah.
You have your origin.
Yes.
You are of the Edo origin.
Yes.
And if you want to drill down, you can tell who your forefathers are.
Yeah.
I am an Okimbaloye, and I can also tell who my forefathers are.
Yeah.
But can we take away the fact that we are different tongues? Our tongues differ.
No.
And our presidents who have constituted conferences, at least two of the presidents have said, you can have every conversation, but the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. The former President Goodluck Jonathan said as much. In those kind of conversations, the fear of disintegration and some people wanting to exit the nation might start, don't you think?
Now, I tell you, Shehu, I am not saying every Nigerian should now be the same person. In fact, I've always argued, and everybody, I'm on record to say that of Professor Onigu Otite's 374 ethnic groups in Nigeria, through his demographic survey, he was a great sociologist that speak over 380 languages. Each of them must have a place and be respected in where he comes from.
Yes.
But when you want to roughing it over others, for example, like former President Buhari calling a whole ethnic group, one of the 3 largest ethnic groups, the Igbos, Southeast, as a dot in the cycle. What will you call me? A minority within a minority from Ijukwe, near Agenebode, Etsako, East Local Government Area of Edo State. What are you going to call me? But in America, for example, they first ask you, what's your name? You tell them. They say, where are you from? We ask you, what do you mean? You mean where I work? Or where I schooled? Or where I live now? Or where I was born? Because each of them would have been different. But they regard themselves as Americans. So they have what you call faith in their country. We do not have faith in our country.
No way.
And that is why when you go around on a Sunday, tomorrow is Sunday, today is Sunday. If you are go around, you will see different town unions. Where will you see a Nigerian union holding a meeting? So it's like the Bible. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and his righteousness
shall be added,
and all things shall be added. If we get it right constitutionally, because the present foundations are fundamentally damaged, they are damaged. I give you an example, Sheung. If you have a house that the walls are cracking, how do you repair the walls? Do you go to the walls, you take a hammer, you begin to chisel it with a chisel, right? Then you get cement, mortar, you call it bricklayer, and say, help me patch this wall. He patches it. In 1 or 2 months' time, more chaos, more gullies, more cracks appear on the wall. You have to look for the cause of that wall. You discover that there's a big tree in your compound whose trees have sprouted. They have become so big that they have gone towards the foundation of the house, and is what is actually threatening it to fall. What do you do to that tree? You don't go to the tree and cut off the branches, because the branches will grow anyway again, and the walls will continue to crack.
Yes,
you go to the tree,
To the roots.
to the roots, uproot it.
So this solution,
root and branches.
the solution, the proposition of the Patriot is getting to the root of Nigeria's problem.
Getting to the root of
Yes.
Nigeria's
So
problem.
three representation of every ethnic group.
That's what the Patriot said.
So based on the sociology's recommendation, so we'll be talking about
Just roughly 100.
but
But the Patriots have looked at it again after further discussion that, look, we have suggested 3 representation elected on non-party basis. By the way, there are 3 modes of throwing up people to represent you: election, selection, or sortition. What do you call sortition? By lot. Now, the Patriots suggest 3 from each each state. But we have looked at it again that the ethnic nationalities in Nigeria must be represented to own a people's constitution, so that no person can say he was marginalized. And that is why the Patriots told the president that he needs to look seriously at the 2014 confab. The reason is that there were 492 members representing every aspect of the Nigerian society: elder statesmen and women, the youth, students,
the market people,
the market women and men,
manufacturers,
the physically disabled, the manufacturers, the private
lawyers,
sector, the police, the military, professional groups, the traditional institution, the civil society. We were all there, lecturers, judges. They threw them up from different organizations, had different ways of throwing up their own representatives. Like the students, they had to go for their own election. The NGOs, they threw up their own. So everybody that came to Abuja here for those 6 months was a representative of certain people, right? But the federal government then looked at it from a critical angle. For example, I was thrown up to represent my people in Edo State. But somehow, by Professor Pella's abracadabra magic, my name vanished from the scene. And when the matter got to the then president, whom, by the way, I had never met as a president when he was in office, as president or vice president or acting president, I never met him. People do not know. Google me and see my acerbity criticism of his government, as I did Buhari, as I am doing now. He said, why is his name not there? Put his name as a federal government delegate addendum. That is why tomorrow, when I'm going out, I hear somebody say addendum. I know that the person must have been at the 2014 confab, right? So the government nominated some few people. That was all. And we made over 600 recommendations, which if the Buhari government had looked at, or the present government looks at, as we told Mr. President, We are not saying that all Nigerians' problems will evaporate in one day. But you would have tackled them headlong. Do you understand me? And I try to, some of us who are nation builders, I'm not a politician. I regard myself as a nation builder, a human rights activist, a pro-democracy campaigner. I sit down to think and bellyache about the problems of Nigeria. Do you know, Sheon, that as far back as 1986, I had taken the then President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida at the Armed Forces Ruling Council, AFRC, at the Attorney General to court against removal of petroleum subsidy. The judgment was December 29, 1987, by Justice Agoro. Just Google National Concord, Mike Ozekhome, Babangida. 37 years ago, this oil subsidy we are still fighting over today. Because my argument was that you cannot be made to pay for a product that you are having, like other people do not have it. What late Professor Cloud Ake would describe as a disarticulate economy, where you produce what you don't consume and consume what you don't produce. That thing I saw 37 years ago is what we are still fighting over today. And guess what again? I was the first proponent that June 12th should be a Democracy Day and not May 29, which is a mere handover. I fought this over the years. Later, in 2018, General Muhammadu Buhari as president made June 12th the Democracy Day. The same way at the 2014 National Conference, I moved a motion that Nigeria should go back to the first national anthem, the original anthem.
Although a lot of people disagree with it.
Yes, a lot of people have disagreed, but the entire 492 members, one of the few instances in which there was mass consensus, they brought that motion and we all stood up instantaneously and sang Nigeria, we hate thee. I wrote a book
Chief Ozekhome,
by that title, Nigeria, we hate
thee. In all of this, you've mentioned one major issue that is of paramount importance if we need to reform this country and if we need to go forward, which is the question of national unity. But we'll take a break. When we return, I'd like you to also explain how this will benefit the Nigerian poor. Because a lot of them, when you say constitution, they will ask you, who constitution helps self? Because what matters to them is the food on their table and the money in their pocket and how they will feed. And I'd like you to explain the nitty-gritty of how a reformation of the constitution or a birth of a new constitution will help Nigerians, especially the average person. But of course, the issue of legality.
Yeah.
The Patriot mentioned the issue of referendum and how the National Assembly will come into. That was a major legal debate.
Yeah.
We'll take a break, everyone. But the streets of Nigeria were engulfed by agitation by some Nigerians who took to the streets over hunger and state of the economy. Let's get back to our conversation with Chief Mark Ozekhome, who is one of the patriots, a group that went to the president to discuss the way forward and the solution to Nigeria's problem. Thank you so much, Professor Ozekhome, for your time tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
A lot of
must always
Nigerians,
have time for Nigeria.
Absolutely. A lot of Nigerians are arguing differently about the approach. But the question is that one thing that people are not disputing is that we have a challenge. And how we get there, the processes, and is what is getting us talking. There must be something at the minds of the patriots that made them to stand up, come together, and say, let us go to the president and discuss. What was that major fear that the patriots had?
Yes, after we had a colloquium in March this year, very big colloquium, attended by president governors, past governors, president senators, House of Reps, past ones, members of the diplomatic or captains of industry, the civil society. Most humbly, I presented the paper, the lead paper, the keynote address. The patriots came to the conclusion that Nigeria was on the precipice, on a dangerous precipice. And we cannot continue to pretend. You have a sore, then you bandage it and put sweet-smelling Sasarobia or Herman or Hugo Boss perfume, and you pretend that the saw is not there, it's there. So they saw the clear and present danger of Nigeria losing it.
In what sense?
In the sense that Nigeria is a pluralistic society. Pluralistic societies are governed by constitutions that take into consideration the peculiarity of the people, usually through federal constitutions, not the type of unitary system we are operating. The patriots gave the example of Canada, India, and Switzerland. Pluralistic societies that have their constitution subjected to the people in a referendum, and they are united. The patriots gave the example of Yugoslavia, which was under former Tito. They are broke up into 7 countries, independent states. The patriots gave the example of Czechoslovakia. After living together for 100 years, they broke up into Czech and Slovakia. Coming home, we gave the example of Sudan here. They had lived together for 3,000 years. A few years ago, they broke up into Sudan and Southern Sudan, and the wars have not ended. The patriots therefore felt that there is the need, the urgency of yesterday, for Mr. President now to introduce a president's executive bill to the National Assembly. The fear of the National Assembly has always been that they are trying to be sidelined. No. Although the present constitution being militarily imposed as a schedule attached to Decree number 24 of 1999 is not a people's constitution, lying in its preamble that we, the people of Nigeria, made it when it was never subjected to a referendum or plebiscite.
But are those
we still know that it is still the constitution we are using.
They are constitutional.
My beautiful people, welcome back. So let's talk about this video that we have watched. You know, everything that this Mr. Mike Ozome, I don't know how to pronounce the name. Ozekhome, Mr. Mike Ozekhome. You know, in all this conversation, the only thing I picked in this conversation is what is the problem of Nigeria? Is that word that he used, lack of unity? Yes. That is the only word. Until Nigeria as a nation come together, or as a country come together and unite and stop this, what we call this saka of tribalism. The president will come out and say, I don't want to hear anything concerning tribalism. But behind them, they are the people preaching this tribalism. They are the people pushing all these people that are fighting. You are Igbo, you are Yorubas. Let's just face what happened last time, that a guy from Yoruba tribe came out and said, after after protest of bad governance, that the next protest is going to be Igbo must go. What did they do up to today? This thing has been something that has been continuously. What did they do? Did they find out that person to arrest the person? No. Did they give that person query? No. But one thing I want to say, the group in the northern part of Nigeria that came out with Russia flag, and they were flying these flags around, that they want Russia to come and rescue them. What happened? They have arrested most of those people. Yes, they have arrested most of those people. The journalists that were, capturing everything that was happening, they arrested some, they fight some, and they even injure some. What happened? What has police or government or president or politician or people that call themselves they are on top, what have they done? Nothing. Because you see, every time our president, they will come out and talk about, I don't want to hear you are a tribal problem, I don't want to hear this echo, but behind they are the one pushing, they are the one causing all this problem. Because when somebody come out to make a statement or to say something that you are advocating against it, you have to fish that person out and punish that person according to the law, so that next time that person will not, nobody will do that again. But this has been going on every time. So until we as a country come together, embrace ourselves, live as one, unite as one, then Nigeria will work. And this concerning this constitution, they have been talking about Nigerian constitution, that they have to adjust the constitution, they have to remove some, just adjustment, remove some things and add some things that will favor everybody. Because this constitution is favoring them, the politician or the political classes, those ones that are sitting on top. Because this constitution is favoring them, they will not see anything. They will not see. And you have heard what this Prof. Mike Ozekhome said. Ozekhome, I don't know what that name, how to really pronounce it, that the problem of Nigeria, he made illustration like when a wall is cracked, you cannot go there and start looking at the wall, or you have to chisel the wall so that you can start from where that wall where that wall has been cracked, and start there to to rebuild it. And he still give an illustration that, for example, when a tree is not yielding well, you cannot go and start cutting the branches of the tree, because the tree will still bring other new branches. What you have to do, you have to stick out from the branches of that tree, and so that the tree will fall, that tree will not be there to be yielding bad fruit, or will not bring any fruit. That is the problem of Nigeria. We are talking of end bad governance. Up to today, Buhari, every time I will say Buhari, Tinubu has not come out to really talk about what people are protesting for. When he came out to make a speech, all what he was doing, he was counting his achievement, what he has done, what he has done. Anyway, we watched the video from the beginning, when that what is his name again? That was talking that they need adjustment in our constitution. So Tinubu said he will see what he can do about that. According to Shegun said the way Tinubu responded, he thinks is positive. And the body language of Tinubu, he thinks that Tinubu really accept them, which this man, Mr. Mike, Prof. Mike, is a lawyer. He was among those groups that went to make a speech or to talk about the constitution with Tinubu. So my people, I don't really know what is the problem of Nigeria. Would Nigeria be really good? Will it really? No, I don't think. For me, the only thing I really think about Nigeria is that I don't know if God will really come down and help Nigerians. That is the only thing. I don't know if this country called Nigeria will ever be better. If this country called Nigeria will ever good. I just pray that if God can really change all these leaders, because Nigeria problem is not something since I grew up to become a woman or to just have that knowledge of things. I have never heard, even when I was still young, my parents, they would say, this president, he said, even from the military regime, they were not even talking anything good about the head of states. He has done this, he has been trying people every time. I have never heard where they say, oh, we really enjoy this regime, we really enjoy this head of state, or we really enjoy this president that came. I have never heard until I grew to this time. Nigeria has been from worst to worst. Every year, no one has ever come, and we will not. Now people are saying, no matter the way we were suffering when Buhari was in the seat, people were crying of hunger problem. Now they are even saying, oh, Buhari regime was even better than Tinubu regime. When Tinubu would go, another one will come. They will say, oh, Tinubu regime was even better than this one regime. My people, when will Nigeria good? When will we enjoy our government? When will we enjoy the good things that God has really blessed Nigeria with? When will we enjoy these things? Wickedness everywhere. The politicians, they are there very wicked. We the masses, we are here fighting each other. Igbo must leave. Yoruba must go. Hausa must go. You go back to your country. Especially, even this Mr. Mike make a statement. He said, if Nigeria is a united country, he said, Mr. President, the former president, which is Buhari, in his speech, he make mention of a whole tribe, a whole Igbos, that they are just a dot in the map of Nigeria. Can you imagine? Anyway, my people, I don't have much to say, but what I have to say is that God should really help Nigerians. God should help that country, Nigeria. That is the only thing I have to say. So guys, if you have watched this video to this time, thank you very, very much for watching. Please subscribe, share, like, click that notification bell so that whenever I post a video, you will be the first to be notified. Thank you, and I will see you in my next one. Bye for now.